I know, I know people might be wondering, why am I getting this high? Besides the feeling or the addiction or the euphoria I might feel, why else am I getting so high and doing so many pills or whatever and posting videos? Um, there's more to me than um, it seems with me. I got a very rough story. I'm not gonna tell it all, but I have a very rough past, rough story, and still kind of rough. Tons of things. And the euphoria from the pills are good, or Benadryl or whatever, they're good, but I need that euphoria all the time because I have things I deal with. I let you in a little bit. Um, the last 3 years, 6 people that were close to me died, and it haunts me. It's one of these grief and memory things, and caring about a person that haunts me. It'll keep you from sleeping. But the manner in which they died and the space in between was very quick. Not 3 years, maybe 2 years. 2017. So I try to explain this a little bit to you guys. So in junior high, there was this girl. Um, at that time, her name was Lindsay Jones, and she was really pretty to me. She was really pretty to me, and so she had green eyes. I thought she was half black, maybe it was just a tan. Long story short, she taught me how to kiss a little bit, but she had a very bad attitude, and she was very racist toward Mexicans. And I used to tell her when we were kids, you know, you need to stop being so racist to them, and you know, you need to stop being so racist to them and so mean to them. She would call them all types of like very racist names and be mean to them, and they would fire back sometimes and talk about her and made her cry. She wasn't really no violent physical person. She had a bad attitude toward things. I kind of lost touch with her after my freshman year of high school because she joined a prep, class of like white kids, and I hung with everybody in school, but I was in a black kid crowd also, and so that was it basically. I ended up going on with my life. You know, I said when I was in junior high, I used to have a problem with thinking about her because her eyes were so pretty to me, and she was very pretty to me, and I couldn't understand how, okay, whether you're full black or half black, I couldn't understand how she had no love for black people and Mexicans at all. I couldn't understand it. I was like 14. I used to stay up listening to R. Kelly or some love song CD and think about her for hours. And, you know, I never could figure out how to get at her on that level because even when we call ourselves, going to first base, she still had a nasty attitude toward things. I'm going to get to the point. So I was about 2 years ago. I was staying on the state line of Indiana and Illinois, and I had my black light on, and I just got done messing around with this girl like 2, 3 times, and she fell asleep, and I was still had energy for some reason, and so I don't know where the thought came from. It was weird how it happened, but I thought about her. I said, you know what? I wonder if Lindsay Jones, how she's looking these days, or is she on Facebook or whatever? I'm gonna search for her. Just had this urge out of nowhere. So instead of going to Facebook, I went to Google, my phone, and typed her name in. Had spare time. Oh, girl was tired, and I really don't want to move too much, but I wasn't tired. And so basically, I Googled her. All of a sudden, these sites came up and these pictures came up, and I'm looking at some of the like labels to um, the photos and from the websites, and I see the picture. I see a lot of pictures that look like her, but she seems lighter, like she's white now. I don't know what happened to her. I click on the picture, and lo and behold, it's her, the images. I'm like, okay. And on below the picture is a caption. It says mother of two is horrifically killed or stabbed or something like that, and it was her. And I'm like, no, that's some type of troll or some type of little prank or joke. That ain't happening or whatever. And so when I saw that, I got a little worried. So I went back to the website part and I clicked on the pictures in the story, and it was sad and it bothers me because first of all, she got married, and her name is now Lindsay Eastridge, and like I told her when we were kids, I predicted her death. I feel really bad that it happened to her. Even though she was kind of mean, but she wasn't all the way mean at that point. We were kids, and what happened was that she was gonna get her nails done down the street from where I live at now. She was gonna get her nails done, and she goes into this nail salon, Premier Nail Salon, and this Mexican guy walks in the nail salon for I don't know for what reason, but he walks into the nail salon. He walks into the nail salon and he stabs her a lot of times. I didn't Google her dead body or I didn't search for any aftermath of it. I just was like, wow. And every story sounded the same. Matter of fact, if you type in Lindsay Eastridge on YouTube or Google, her story comes up. Lindsay Eastridge, Eastridge, all together, last name. And so she died, and I don't really talk about this, but I think she got hit so many times with that knife that or whatever he stabbed her with. She had a closed casket. If I remember correctly, he hit her ass up, and that's pretty horrific. That's pretty bad. But it bothered me. It still bothers me somewhat. Not as bad as it used to. But now that I'm back in Mesa, it does start to bother me more because the town she died in, her and the nail shop that she died in is down the street from where I live at. So it just haunted me. Even though at that time I was in Indiana, and I mean the state line thing, it just stayed on my mind constantly. It's all I thought about, amongst other things. But I started getting higher because of it. Now I moved out here, it's starting to remess with me again, started to fuck with me again. But sometimes that's just life. You just have to go through the worst things and just survival. And so I started getting higher. I started developing even more. I'm already depressed because of all this death. I have very bad situations also with money, people taking my money and me having to need it for emergency situations, and I don't have it. So what's kind of weird about it is that I randomly just wanted to search her name on Facebook, and I randomly just wanted to see what was up with her, and this story comes up. Almost like I was led to the story, or like a higher power wanted me to know about this, or those who believe like this, maybe her spirit was trying to reach me and tell me something. I really don't want to get all into it because it's bad, and here's why it's bad. Lindsay she had a foul mouth. She was kind of racist, but you're kids. You don't really know that stuff, the consequences and the badness of that type of behavior as kids. She was probably like that at 12. But I can tell you one thing. Sometimes when she would talk about people, they used to fire back on her. They used to call her names and different things. And she would be in class crying sometimes. And it used to throw me for a loop because that rang loud as hell. Sometimes it would throw me for a loop because it's like Lindsay was not violent. When people would talk about her back, she wouldn't keep arguing with them. She'd say a little bit, but it was too many times in school she'd be in there crying and stuff. She, I think she was passive or maybe worse. Even though she said racist thing, she was not a fighter. Secondly, we lived in Gilbert, Arizona. Gilbert, Arizona is probably one of the top suburbs in America. So, you know, that just wasn't about. She wasn't about that life. She was really from Gilbert. Like she wasn't about that life. She wasn't about that violence and murder and all that arguing and bickering. She was not about that. If she were to get in a fight, I more than can guarantee she would lose because she was not a violent person. This wasn't something that she did. Okay, and it's bad because a little bit of trash talk. You can't control the people, but trash talk and racist shit happens all the time. Almost happens every day for me. Okay. But to do a little girl, a little 5'2", 130-pound woman like that, come on, man. Just, if you gotta do something about it, just beat her up or something. Don't kill her. So it's very unfortunate that that's how she had to go. She went a way that she was not prepared for. She went a very morbid, horrific, tragic, depressing, unfortunate way because she had 2 kids. That wasn't her. That was not her. She wasn't about no fighting. She argued a little bit, but she said very racist things. That's sad. That's sad that you can take somebody and kill them, take their life, take them away from their husband and kids. You can do that to a person that probably never even really had a fight, but she go out with a knife. It's sad. It's sad. It really is. I can see it was some rough ass girl or some rough ass dude or something that was out there like that, and it happened. Unfortunate, but if they were rough or if they were violent or crazy, there's a chance they might fight back and not be killed. She is gone. She's in a cemetery. She is gone, and that fucks with me. It really does, because that's not what she was about. When she was nice, she was nice. It wasn't about her being crazy or fighting. She had a smart mouth and shit, but she probably changed over the years. Who knows? Secondly, she was a Gilbert, Arizona person. That was her town. And, them people are very... you have very small incidents, like violence or murders, every now and then in Gilbert. Even in Arizona. This ain't no murderous place. This ain't no violent or crazy, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, shoot out in the middle of the street place. So... speaking on the terms of talking about Gilbert, why did she go like that? This is not her element, not the violence, but she was just like a boring little suburb, like personality type. She wasn't about that. She didn't. That wasn't her. That didn't. That's just nothing she probably never thought would happen, and it did, and it bothered me because I didn't live in a rough part of Virginia for a little bit. I didn't live a bunch, many years in Chicago, in different areas, in Inglewood, in Tarrytown, Chirac. I lived in Chirac. I live in Roseland, aka the Wild Hunnets, the north side, and then the uptown, which is not really dangerous, but it's a lot of little stick-ups and little things that happen. I didn't live in some fucked up places. I done been in a ton of fights. That's a Heineken bottle. Somebody headbutted me right here. That's a Budweiser bottle from the same time I got that. So, you know what I'm saying? You would expect me to experience it. I'm going to knock on wood or believe in that type of superstition, but that's who you respect it more from me than her. It's sad. I don't want to get into too far into this. I don't want to get into too far into the shit that I deal with. That is serious a lot of times, but I survive. But you know, I just don't want to get into it right now. I'm a little bit buzzed right now, and I can feel more. I don't want to get into it. A couple months prior to that, I'll finish the Lindsay story. But a couple of months prior to that, my 18-year-old cousin slash sister on my dad's side died of a allergic reaction to some type of medicine, and that ripped me in half because Desiree had a rough life. Richmond, Virginia is a slum, and my dad's illiterate and his wife don't make that much money. They didn't have really nothing. Desiree, when she first became a toddler, was slept on a Bowflex for a very long time. And she was half deaf, not half deaf, she was deaf in one ear. She just had a rough life from my abusive dad, and then she just died at 18. I don't believe in curses, but if I did believe in curses, or if they were real, Desiree would have had one on her. You know, I was already dealing with that shit. I really was. And then Lindsay, then my cousin Anthony, who was like my best friend, like this happened about 7 months after Lindsay, who was like my childhood friend. We did not miss a beat. We were always together, especially on the weekend. We spent out at each other's house. So all this is laid on top of me. Plus my roommate committed suicide. I could go into detail about that because those are bad images for me. And you know, with the Lindsay story, it hits me very hard. Just because, you know, I remember the conversations I had with her. They will start off good and they will go to this old white chicks like Lottie Da, fucking preppy Abercrombie and Fitch, fucking McDonald white kid personality would come out of her, and I'd just be like, man, I ain't even fucking with all that racism, man. Dude, I'm not fucking with none of that. All right, go, yeah. But I never wished bad on her. I just stayed away from her in junior high a little bit because shit got, some shit would irritate. Some parts of our personalities did not match, and you know, with her death, she had 2 boys, she had a husband. If you look up Lindsay Eastridge on YouTube, what'll happen is that the story comes up and you see her family crying. They weren't ready for all that. They were some Gilbert, Arizona people also, or Mesa. I don't know exactly where her house was, but they weren't built for all that. They weren't ready for all that. They weren't tough enough to deal with it, even though they were dealing with it. But this is not a thought that crossed their minds. This is not a situation. People need to be aware that it can happen. So always stay on your guard and watch and observe things in this crazy, mad and magog, dark, extremely demonic, unfortunate, tragic, dysphoric world we live in. Just watch everything. You never know when something's coming like that. Just be awake and be aware. And that was it, you know. With Lindsay, she haunted me. She haunted me in my mind, not like a spirit or nothing. No, she just haunted me, and about 7 months, I kind of left it alone. I stopped thinking about it, and I moved back to Mesa. And when I was going somewhere one day to a store, and I looked at the nail salon that was in the plaza of where I was going, and Premier Nail Salon, and that just ripped me open. I just like, damn, that the last place that she went to before she unfortunately lost her life was that spot right there, and it just did something to me. It just took the air out of me, put a knot in my throat, put a knot in my stomach. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like the room was spinning. I felt sick to my stomach. I don't know. But it affects me. And now, even in the present moment, when I talk about it and think about it, it still affects me very painfully. And I'm a Libra. I may be cocky and crack jokes or this and that. But if a person don't provoke me or is rude to me, I'm probably one of the nicest people you ever meet. I do anything I can to help people, even though I don't got it. I try to help people because that's what I like to do. But you know, You know, in a way, I feel a little responsible for it a little bit because I should have taught her how to fight more or block or, you know what I'm saying, throw a fast set of these hands and get up out of that nail salon. I could have did something back when we were kids to try to prevent that, but I didn't. So it's sad, it really is. So that's what's on my mind right now because I just talked about it too much on YouTube. So, you know, things happen. That's why there's a higher power to help us with situations that are too much for us or would seem impossible. It's nothing for God to bring her back in the future. It's too easy for him to do. And that's kind of what I base my hope off of and my faith. But nah, I'm being eaten alive right now. And you can't feel what I'm feeling. You can't understand my facial expression, what's going on with me. But me being haunted every single night, probably for the rest of my life, very badly, thinking about my cousin and my sister and Chris. It's probably going to be like that for the rest of my life. But I had to do something to deal with it and stop getting high. But trust me when I tell you, even if I'm sick as hell from getting high, I'm still going to do it. I don't want to feel this dysphoria. You guys have a nice night.